All right, my topic is finders, keepers, losers, weepers. And I know we've probably all said that at some point because we were all kids. But the phrase is really, really old. It goes all the way back to the Roman Empire, and they had this phrase called terra nullius, which basically meant unowned land. And that meant that if you found land that nobody owned, you could take it. And just by taking it, it means you have to live on that land. So that way, nobody owns it. And then also a very angry Roman, right? Very cool. And then it also exists very, very commonly in maritime law, which is like the Navy. I thought this is hysterical. I googled maritime law, and it's just like a hammer and dollars and a steering wheel. I don't know. I thought it was hysterical, like the fact that that must be really popular. But this is actually a big deal because shipwrecks happen, they are carrying stuff, and if it's at the bottom of the sea, you know, like if it's your stuff on that ship, you lose your claim to it, and it's not like, oh, finders, keepers, losers, weepers, some guy in a scuba suit finds it. It's like you fill out paperwork, and it's illegal that you're like, I'm going to go take the stuff that's on this shipwreck, and now you legally own that because that guy wrecked his ship, which just sounds awful, right? Like you lose all your stuff, and some other guy with a pen and paper can take it. But it comes up a lot in American history. Looks very good on the Americans, let me say. Westward expansion, there was something called the Homestead Act, which meant as we move west, if nobody's got the land, you can take it. And of course, nobody had the land, right? Just we were such great people, huh? And even today, there's something called adverse possessions or squatters' rights, which I'm sure we've all heard of, which means if you live in a place, even if you don't own it, you have rights because you exist on that land. And so, in some states, you need to give them like a year's notice before you can actually kick them out. It's crazy. And we all hear possession is 9/10 of the law. All those things are just finders keepers. Like that's what it was. That's the same thing. If you look up finders keepers, that's what comes up. And then there's this one really cool court case in Britain where this guy was at he was at an airport for British Airways, and he finds a gold bracelet on the ground, and he goes and says, "Here, I found this on the ground. Nobody claims it. I want it back." And so, 3 weeks later or something, British Airways does the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They sell it. Why? I've never heard of a company who goes through the lost and found and sells things, but they sell it. And then he goes to court against them and is like, I found it, so it's mine, not yours. And he won. And so there's this it's a law in Britain that's essentially finders keepers. So I thought that was ridiculous. And and it wouldn't be a CLP without there being a song named after my word. So here's a song that goes with my word. It's by Elvis. And it's just the beginning. It's like a minute long. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. I won't weep and I won't moan, 'cause I found you and your love is so true, and I'm keeping you for my own. This one, I liked it because it's kind of like the gender thing we just talked about. Because he talks about owning this woman, and he talks about another guy losing her, and he found her, and so now she's his. And obviously it was the 1950s or whatever. But it's just kind of tied in really well.
It's perfect.
That's it.
It is perfect.
Thank
Lord.
you guys. You've been a wonderful audience.
Well done.
There seems to be a lot of laws that are based off of finders, keepers, losers,